Hey, so a few things before I start this recording. This was recorded before the last video. I didn't realize that I'd have so many new viewers, and I appreciate the comments. You made me realize that a few of the Pokemon that I went over were split evolutions, and just to correct some of the video where I accidentally covered up some of the Pokemon. So first off, few split evolutions. Cobin, Cobras, and Cobalt. But knowing that Cobras and Cobalt are branched final evolutions, I like it way more. Cobalt, even though I feel like it could have a few more details showing that it doesn't have a future form, I think that if you knew about Cobras, Cobalt, it works great. They look like a good dueling companion. Second, Larva Bidet is how I'm gonna go for it. Evolves into Caranox, Carajewel, and Caracrust, but not in a line. I think I mentioned something about it looking weird how... No. I only grouped up 3 of these, and Caracrust I randomly did by itself for whatever reason. It didn't make the connection that these 4 were connected. That being said, I think I prefer Caranox being a second stage and then splitting into Carajewel or Caracrust, just because I still really like the idea of not having a Cocoon second evolution for a bug Pokemon. However, having 3 different evolutions is pretty cool, and the way they've done it here, having the nature, roughly nature, you could probably influence it past nature, influence how the Pokemon evolves. I'm pretty sure they've done that before in main series Pokemon. In fact, yeah, the Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, and Hitmontop. But I like it. It's another use that's already introduced in the game, and it doesn't feel too out of place. As final evolutions, I like all of them. And then finally, the last split evolution that I didn't catch during original recording was Kertuffle evolving into Moshroom, Lumishroom, and Perishroom. At this point, I caught on that they evolved, but I thought it was a 4-stage line. And this is just a really, really strange line. First off, I suppose Pokemon evolve when they faint, but I guess it happens so rarely that I never noticed if they do or not. But having a Pokemon level up when they faint is interesting. Having them level up while asleep or paralyzed, that's strange too. It's a very cool mechanic. I'm still iffy on how they look. Knowing that it's effectively a 2-stage whenever you get this, fine. But comparing it to Larva Bidet, these final evolutions look so different, so unique, and each one of them draws something to them specifically. This one has the color, but it's still the same concept as opposed to like a shelled flying or attacking bug. There might be other ways to do this. I think that having a split stage mushroom, pretty cool. Having different mushrooms on each of these, pretty cool. Level up style's pretty cool, but there has to be something else. Maybe instead of a dead hill, it's just those ghost mushrooms. I really like them. Maybe Lumishroom. Maybe Lumishroom ends up looking more like a candle or something. Something that emits light, like it's trying to mimic a real-world object. And then Mushroom can just look how it looks. It looks like a creature that's just asleep. Lumishroom and Perishroom both look like they're kind of asleep too with the closed eyes, but it's too similar. The last split stage I'll get to when I do the video that it encompasses. But for now, back to the line. So, I'm starting up again after doing a quick glance around the rest of the Apacies in this list, and whoo, I've got some I love these. I love some of these. They're, we'll get to them. Probably won't get to the one that really caught my eye and got me excited. This video, I'm probably gonna go to 100, just because I think it ended at 100, or a line ended at 100, so I thought it'd be a good stopping place. So Panther did have a secondary of Jaguile. Okay, it looks adorable. It looks a little normal. I'd maybe add, well, it's a baby Pokemon, so it shouldn't look too different. It looks very rounded on the ears. It looks very friendly. I feel like it still needs something. It's just a normal type though, so I really can't think of anything. Maybe because I think it needs something, the player would associate it with, it seems regular, which actually I kind of like. It's not brown, it's not gray, it's yellow and black, and somehow it still conveys normal. So, a shockingly good version. Jaguile looks a little off. If you were going to introduce sharp shoulder blades, I'd probably put more emphasis on the shoulders itself of Panther. So I'm not sure I like that. In fact, if I was going to exaggerate one part of Panther, I don't think I could. I'd maybe do something with the face, just because that is the most detailed part of it. The shoulders looks a little off. I'd hint towards it in Panther. That's probably what I'd change. As for the designs, I'm glad they're more intricate. I'm glad the ears are sharper. Shows a growth. Eureka and Cerebralb. I do like the... Okay, so I like the names. I like that the circuits aren't just lines, but they are definitely tubes of energy. And I... Definitely more of a light bulb here. And it still kind of looks like a light bulb, as this would be the metal rings that you can screw into a socket. But I like just the electric hair. That's unique. I like it. And the switch on the bottom, making it more of a pointed end. Ooh. Yeah, no, I like that. I'd love to see this in a game, especially in like Sword or Shield with a 3D model. Pepit, Hoppanero, and Scovalope. I should probably not clap so loud. That, whoever made those names, they need an award. That is beautiful. Pepit, that's so adorable, and it works with the rest of the line. Hop up narrow. Oh, Scovalope. Okay, kind of like antelope. It definitely brings together horns in my mind. And then it works. Oh my god. Are you telling me this isn't the grass or fire line? Because now I'm disappointed that I can't choose this as a starter. Pepit looks so adorable. The chubby cheeks, the eyes. I think I would have added a little bit of an eye on the other side just so you see peeping through. Looks a little off without it. While the other two, it's turned just enough where it seems fine to not. But oh my god, the little nubbin for a tail for the habanero. The color of the fur leads in from a dark orange, brightens up, spreads the whole body to a bright red. That's great. Everything about this line is great. I would absolutely use this. 10 out of 10. So far, oh, it's such a good line. I can't say they're my favorite, but oh my god. I hadn't seen these ones quite yet. I glanced over Pepit, but I didn't remember these two. Oh, they're so good. Props. Props to whoever made those. Okay, so Potter and Hurricanine. I would have thought that... Okay, so water electric. It definitely conveys electricity. And I can see why you went with a darker blue just to emphasize that it isn't exactly water. But that's almost... Okay, no. This is great. I probably would have lightened the blue a little bit, just to show more emphasis between the darker and the lighter shades. But then what you did on the ends of the paws to show water bubbling up, that's absolutely perfect. That is just what this final evolution needed. Because just blue and yellow already has the idea of an electric type. I don't know why blue is exactly associated with electricity sometimes, but that's just how it is. And then showing it in texture is super easy due to the jagged, almost collar that Hurricanine has. But the bubbling of the legs show that it still has roots in what is a water Pokemon. Potter also, even though I probably would have changed the stance, it looks a little too far forward to me. Like it's not focusing on a battle. Exactly. But it hints at what will be Hurricanine with all of the yellow emphasis. It's in all the same spots too. Even the paws. It definitely looks like it'll go directly into it, and I don't want Hurricanine to have the same shade as Potter for sure. That way it shows more of a progression that's it. Hurricanine had been around a while. And that's why I like the lighter yellow too. But it can still be a happy medium between these two, just to show and just to have a little bit more contrast with than just the yellow areas. The beginning of the face just looks almost invisible with all this yellow. Scalarva, Mascoon, and Mortask. I need to check to see if there's a fourth. No, there's not. So, Scalarva. Looks very simple. Definitely looks like a skull. The eyes are great if you're going to go with the skull motif. Much more simple than I would have expected an early stage to do. I need to study that one a bit. Oh, I didn't notice its neck almost looks like teeth. Now that's cool. That's a cool little thing. So then it actually looks like a skull with a bottom jaw. That, it's almost like an old person jaw from a cartoon. I like that though, because you definitely know where the mouth is. Oh, and then the little little pincers for its mouth almost look like nose holes. That's why that design looks so good. Yeah, it definitely brings to mind a skull, even though it isn't necessarily just a skull. I gotta look into that. I might redesign Malion. I might redesign Malion with that more in line and just have more of a necklace on it. Since I already have a necklace that it wears. I really like that. That blows me away. Mascoon, it's keeping the teeth motif. Wow, that's not a sentence I'd expect to say. I'm not sure what I think about the pincers on this one, because they're definitely wider and look more like a trapdoor. But that doesn't really convey a mask to me. It does look like this Apacies has a mask on, but this one doesn't do it for me as much as Skulllarva. And Mortask, yes, we've seen moth Pokemon before, but I like that it's almost the mask's design continues on the wings of this creature. The eyes almost dash across and create slits. It's like a Capsule Corp logo. And it seems like it can defend itself and the two previous evolutions, which don't look like they could at all. Mascoon, it does look more of a cocoon, which I just realized is the oon part. Which, fine, it works, but you can only have so many variations of a rounded cocoon bug before it gets kind of tiring. It could just be a 2-stage, and I'd love it all the same. Vectil and Vectil 2. Okay. Okay, these are strange. So, I love the design. It looks very magnetic and very technological. Vectil itself looks like this. A mouse. Even the eye in the center. Why is it poison? Yeah, it's supposed to be a scorpion. But this looks like an electric steel to me. This looks like a grade A electric steel. Or electric poison. Or steel poison. This doesn't look like just a straight poison to me, despite all the bright colors. My only complaint there, well, aside from not knowing what the name is in reference to, is the typing. The typing just seems like it's meant to fill out the Pokedex to be more well-rounded than the motif of the Pokemon itself. Okay, so Bowie and Scoobug. No, they're fine. They're great. I absolutely love these two. Scoobug looks like a friend to me. Like, this looks like an ugly duckling best friend type of thing. And Bowie just cute larva. You probably just want to go, go away. But it's Scoobug. Oh, and Bowie, it could look so adorable wagging its tail. This is a great line. I love this. I love this to death and back. It looks like a submarine. It looks like it has a buoy. Almost looks like it's mimicking a fishing line, which isn't a good thing unless you want to keep predators away, but then it's meant to get I don't know. Bowie's design is a little weird to me. It can definitely keep afloat, but Scoobug, absolutely grade A. And okay, so we're gonna continue the looks like a starter, is typed like a starter, but isn't a starter, as Scovelope Habanero started. Trotter, Cascata, and Lutridjet. The spots of orange on Lutridjet, I like them. I like the final design for sure. It definitely conveys a water motif. The yellow, the orange can be excused as just extra coloring and not an example of a secondary type. But there's no other real orange motif on the other two. And the other two look pretty plain. Too plain for my tastes. Even Trotter. Maybe it's not that it looks plain, it's just it doesn't look rounded. And it doesn't look simple at the same time. If you zoomed in a bit more and maybe not have it bounce on its tail, which I don't think it's supposed, or it needs to. I don't think it's a Azurill situation. Yeah, moving on. just saw it. I just saw something. Okay, so Alpine and Forusk. You know what? No, this is adorable. Okay, maybe Alpine's hair. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But it's supposed to be a pine tree. The rounded nature of a baby Pokemon. It's a little strange that... Okay, so here's probably everything I can say about this line in one sentence. Alpine, its motif seems to be a full-grown pine tree. It doesn't look like a sapling. It looks like it's holding a sapling, but it looks like it's been around for a while. And if it's a level 1, that's not what I expect. Forusk, yeah, it definitely looks like a final stage. You cut down the tree already. But the tree still has to grow at some point, and having it seemingly looking like it's fully grown on the first stage is throwing me off. But they're adorable. I like that line. I just probably wouldn't have given Alpine a full pine tree for hair. So Platypow and Platycow. Okay, definitely fighting, and I know where they get the poison for Platypus. I like it, because even if you don't know that a platypus can be poisoned, the purple boxing shorts completely give it away. And then in Platycow's bandaged arms, you can definitely see that it's more of a fighter. Even its bill seems to have a bandage on it and almost a black eye. It definitely looks like a fighter. Oof! Perfect. And Platypow seems to be wearing a helmet with its tail, just covering up, making sure he can't get any quick knockout punches. And it's in a fighting formation. Definitely. Love this line. Perfect. Cuppy and Fettlekish instead of Kettlefish. You know what? I'm disappointed. Disappointed that I can't find anything wrong with this line. I like it. It looks very simple here, even if it's less rounded than its older evolution. This does look new. It's smaller fins, smaller design. The difference in size of a cup and a kettle already gives away a size comparison. I can't find anything wrong with that. I like it. I even like that the steam that comes out of a kettle, it's more bubbly because it's supposed to be in water. I can't be wrong with that. Shibalbat instead of Shibalba. Okay. I generally don't like gold on creatures. I was gonna draw a comparison between the next Apacies and then I read the name. The gold on Nobunata I like because it's such a mix of different colors that it doesn't just stand on its own. It's more of a yellow than gold. But in Shibalbat, these names, I love them. I love puns. I like it. This has to be an attacker. And it has very, very imposing arms. Like, this thing can whack you to heck and back. And absolutely unmistakably Egyptian. Yeah, no complaints. It looks cool. It's got a helmet. Its upper head is a helmet that matches the colors of the rest of its arms and claws. Yeah, that's great. Nobunata, I love the colors. It absolutely looks like a warhorse. I probably would have made the legs dark blue just to keep the idea that the Apacies itself well, I don't know. Because if they did that, it does just look like it wears clothes. It's wearing armor.
So, on second thought, no, I can't really complain about anything. I like it. Solid 1 stage. Same with Shibalbat. So, Cybex and Nuru, I guess. Nuru, probably just a silent G. Nuru. Cybex. Adorable. It's just simply adorable. And Nuru, I like that it doesn't have eyes. And it's not exactly what I think of when I think of a guru, which I think is what's happening here. But the design on its major hump does bring about that idea. Same with the hoop on its eyebrows and almost like a horn. So, no complaints. And the horns are a direct evolution of Cybex. It brings together everything. I like it. Even if the colors are exactly the same, they don't need to be slightly different. But speaking of slightly different...
So when reviewing the video, there are a few Pokemon that I wanted to say more of. Because I did both videos back to back, that was pushing about 2 hours and I wanted to get it done and over with, so I went with smaller descriptions. I glossed over Flaugher and Belotus a little too quickly. Same with Crawlock and Scraggy, which we'll get to whenever their time arrives. So to summarize what I said there, Flaugher, it looks a little too plain. I said over and over again that the petals look like they're glued onto the frog, but the tail was a nice touch. Flaugher itself looks like it could have dropped from the grass stage starter of this game, which is kind of interesting. I wish they would have leaned in on that a little more. And maybe simplified the features on the frog. Maybe not giving it so close to real-world legs. Having it be something else that resembles more of a flower than just a frog with petals on it. Belotus was a little weird to me. I can understand putting spikes on a frog, I think. Bullfrogs are definitely a thing, but they don't have very noticeable spikes. And then for a lotus, this doesn't bring to mind what a lotus is, not the color. Maybe I'm thinking too much into a symbol of what a lotus is, kind of like what Civilization does for India, or like Ren from Ruby. Just a simple design, but with the serrated ends and the red bubbling to a yellow color palette does not bring to mind a lotus to me. Doesn't bring to my mind that it's a water type either. The only hint of that would be the frog itself. So I don't think the coloring works very well for its favor. Sure, Flaugher, being that it's so much of a frog, it does convey the water typing, and I'm glad it's just not another blue frog. But maybe more of a cyan turquoise, keep it somewhat green, maybe just have a pattern on it that's more bubbly like Hurricanine and Potter, I think that was it. This is a week after recording. But below this, I like how it looks like a tank, but the flower or the petals on it, even though they look more part of the creature, they don't look like what the creature is named after at this point. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
Interesting. Okay. Burrell and Magawl. I probably would have done this as a split stage evolution, with some pre-evolution looking kind of in between them. Maybe, ooh, if I was allowed to have props, having a bird bench press a bunch of books.
But Burrell and Magawl. Burrell looks like more of a fighter in color scheme, but I'm not sure that conveys in its pose. While Magawl, it does look much like a shaman, so no complaints there. Maybe I would have give it less of a rounded head,
but if it's more of a shaman or monk, they have shaved heads, so I can't complain there. Crawlock. Oh, it's a bullet. And then Crawlock. Okay. I like it. If it was just Crawlock, I don't know. Okay, so Crawlock, I like its design. It's very adorable, and you could absolutely see the bullet. Water, steel, perfect typing. Works perfectly.
Because I only really talked about Crawlock, I didn't go into Crawlock a lot. Here's a few quick thoughts on that. I like it. It doesn't look very different to Crawlock. It still looks like a bullet, kind of. Definitely the barrel of a revolver. Not necessarily a Glock, but a revolver nonetheless. Having it be water steel is perfect, and it does look somewhat menacing. I'm not sure if I would have given it those dot eyes, but it still works. It still works perfectly. And the long eye accessories kind of emphasize how fast Crawlock could be. Leafish and Chlorophyll. Chlorophyll's design, I think, looks really cool. I don't like the drawing in particular, especially the eyes. I'm not a fan of the eye there. And Leafish just looks like a fish trying to blend in as a leaf. I'd maybe give it more of a leaf addition to a Pokemon, but the line has promise. Watergrass, ooh, I'd like that. I saw this, and again, all I can think about is Braviary. Braviary and
Scraggy? Scraggy, right? Scraggy, that's it. With the Scraggy evolution Mohawk. That's all I can think about there. Oops. I don't know. It just seems to be borrowing motifs from other Pokemon, though I do like the different designs and how it changes with each evolutionary line. And even that the Pokemon seems to have glasses or goggles in all three stages. I think this has plenty of ideas, but the Mohawk's a little weird. It does fit the Indian motif, but then it just... There's already a Pokemon that looks very similar to this earlier on. And I'd get those confused in a game. So would a few different people, I think. So, that's weird. Sedirot and Condessa. I like it! I really like it! Sedirot almost looks like an axe head for a head. And then the wings, they aren't just feathers. They look like flowing rocks. And then almost like gears for Condessa. Rock flying is... It works perfectly for Sedirot. Condessa? I see that it's going for layers in rock formations, but it looks almost like a steel type. If you're going to convey rock, I maybe would have staggered the wings to be less blocky, because it looks very artificial as it is, and the gray color scheme of the upper torso doesn't help that out. Nor does the almost nut-looking things around its feet. Cardinite, Chardinal. Okay, you didn't have to try too hard for that name, I get it. And I like the red bird. Cardinals are cool. The eyebrows are very distinguished, and even though it's a baby evolution, the toughness, it's almost like, you're not gonna beat me up, I'm gonna beat you up. I like it. It seems like it has some inner passion, inner fire. And I even like the almost blue eyeliner it has. It matches the wings. Very cool line. I might not have had the fire around the neck. It already has a tuft of fur there. I don't see why it needs flames coming out. If it's the back of its head, maybe. But I would have had it less around the shoulders to show that off more. I don't like if it's coming off the neck. If it's coming off the head, it can work. And I think it'd look pretty cool. Pretty cool line. I would fix up this final a little bit. And Scuro. It looks very basic. Oh, okay. That doesn't look like a... Okay, so it's a one stage. This doesn't convey one stage to me. It looks very rounded and baby-like. And I'm not sure it'd convey ground to me either. It has a steel forehead and dark coloring. I would not have guessed ground at all. I'd change the blue, or the dark blue, into something else. I understand wanting to not go away from ground colors, but having the most prevalent color not associated with your type isn't gonna help with people understanding what type it is. Boy, when I look back at these videos, I have a feeling I'm gonna be punching myself for some of the designs that I have. And I'm not exactly sure what this is going for. Though I do like how it only has one pair of legs. And it's very, like, Minotaur with a snake. I'm sure that's a thing, right? I'm also going to add to Scuro that I do like how Scuro's design reminds me of the ground moles from Avatar. How they're blind, can't see, and they look with their nose. That's probably where the metal plating for its nose comes from and why its eyes are so shut. In retrospect, I like its design a whole lot more. I still think that the dark blue should be changed a little bit. Maybe just to give it more contrast instead of just because it looks too dark or looks like a dark type. But just to contrast the almost low... the darker tan that the rest of its body is. Just have something to bounce off of. Keep your eye on the creature itself. Not so much that it outshines that red tongue that your eye is immediately drawn to. Somberato. I kind of wish that I had this in my game, because it still fits the old Western motif, and it's a ghost type, dark ghost, which I like. I can't complain too much. It looks like a specter possessing a sombrero and a poncho, and it looks pretty cool. The design looks like it's meant to be all square on the poncho, but it also looks torn, like it's been old and raggedy. The little divot in the hat at the very front also conveys that. And the stripes almost look like teeth with an eye poking out, which could also just be a guy looking over a little bit. The position of this and the design of just the clothing that this spirit is possessing, grade A for what you're trying to project. I love it. And because I feel like this hasn't gone on just enough, I'll do this. Falasca, Noxiol, and Fumigast. I'm assuming that this is a split evolution. If it's two, that'd be... I don't think I'd like it as much. But Falasca, oh goodness, that's adorable. Its feet, so that you can actually just stand up the beaker. I forget the actual term for that, but that's great. And it looks like it's almost broken, and uh-oh, something's gonna happen if you have broken chemistry equipment. And then you have Noxiol and Fumigast. Noxiol has a split evolution that has broken glass as claws, which, ooh, I like that. And then another one that almost looks like a gas mask with cork, which is kind of strange. I like it, and it seems to be breathing out fumes, and it has a smokestack. Definitely threatening. Definitely, I would not have been able to come up with this cool of a design with just a chemistry set. But looking back, ooh, I like the design. Fumigast looks like it could be something straight out from Pokemon Sword and Shield. And its vicious jaw, keeping what basically is Flask. Yeah, Flask. As its head, while adding different test tubes on its back as more of mortars, it looks like. Oof. I cannot complain about this design. And then the changing of the different gases. I like that they're so different, because the glass itself is already a callback to keep the whole line centered on what it's supposed to be. And because chemistry itself is just a mixing of chemicals, why not have it be bombastic different colors of blue, red, and green? It's already the starting trio color motif. Why not just have that in a single line as a standout color? Beautiful. Oh my goodness. That's just cool. Even the eyes, I don't think I would have liked these eyes on any other creature, but having it on such a dangerous and trippy line, it works. It works. I like it. And that'll be where I call it. A lot of these lines show a lot of creativity. This interesting duo of the one stages, especially Nobunata, well, both of them, they have such striking color differences, or even similarities, that I probably would never have gone for. I need to bring more items into my creatures too, so having Cuppy, Fettelkish, Crawlock, Sombrato, and the Flask lines, that it's something I need to think more about. All of my Apacies are centered around lore and creatures, not items and creatures, items and lore, or just items in general. So, more to think about. Definitely more to think about. I need to remember that Pokemon isn't just lore and creatures like Absol or Magikarp. So, we'll see how this goes. Thank you for sticking through all this way. Again, it's so weird to go through a fake dex. All these new creatures. I get an initial shock of what does this bring to my mind. I like doing this. This will be a good learning experience, I think. So, hey, if you come across any other fake dex lines, I have a few that I've looked into. Not as much as Sage, but I like these. And also, oh my goodness, there's so many. There's so many different Apacies here. So, expect another probably 2 videos from Pokemon Sage alone. And go check them out if you feel so inclined. Thank you. Have a good night.